Mr. Narendran, to try and understand, because again, I'm not the economist in the room. I'm kind of, it's an overnight expertise, but about the cycle of how you break it. Because on one hand, as Nirmala Kidwai says,
Vasu,
yes.
Vasu, I just want to say, modesty is the facade with which mediocrity impersonates genuine excellence. Carry on.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that on air. I know you said it to me many times privately. I don't know if you're going to broadcast it. But the fact is that, as Nirmala Kidwai says, corporates are in the business of making money. If there is not enough demand, they will not then invest, they will not expand. But then how do you create that demand? There was one expectation that the government would directly put money into the hands of people, boost consumer spending. That hasn't really happened. So then how do you break that cycle?
So traditionally, if you see, India has been more consumption-led growth, unlike China and many other developing countries who've been more investment-led growth.
Yes.
So the focus on infrastructure and increasing expenditure on infrastructure, I think, is a step in the right direction from that point of view. Because consumption-led growth can only take you that far, and unless the infrastructure is created, investments are made, you're not going to create jobs. And we've had services-led growth where I think a lot of the jobs happen in urban centers and not so far away from the urban centers. So to me, in many ways, the economy needs to get rebalanced. And if you really look at the story of the last 10, 12 years, after the global financial crisis, and of course, all the challenges that was there pre-crisis when there was a commodity boom across the world and even in India, things slowed down, and that was evident in the graphs that you showed. So, and in 2015, China slowed down, and again, that had an impact, globally. So to me, we've had a few tough years, both internally and globally. And, just when things were starting to pick up just before the pandemic hit us. So I think in many ways, it was pretty much a perfect storm. And, I think we're digging ourselves out of a hole. And, the investments will come back in the private sector when there's demand and profitability. Demand growth should come, and obviously profitability should improve so that balance sheets are not so leveraged. And as Nirmala said, a lot of the investments over the last 10, 15 years has been in power, steel, etc., capital intensive, but a lot of the NPAs were also in those sectors, right? Because these are cyclical businesses. In a down cycle, a few people will go bust. So we need to make sure that we have a healthier sector in capital intensive sectors. We don't overspend while at the same time have sustainable growth, investment-led growth. So there are many things which need to come together. Government is obviously trying to do what they can. Private sector needs to obviously step up investments. But I think I personally am optimistic about that.
Okay.